appearance at Trump's criminal trial here in New York. Another surefire way to show your fealty: become a fixture at Mar-a-Lago. 12 of Trump's picks hosted or co-hosted events at Mar-a-Lago. Or you could become a Fox News host or contributor. At least 11 of Trump's picks went that route. And when all else fails, there's always Project 2025. At least 17 of Donald Trump's picks are associated with Project 2025 or the America First Policy Institute. The trifecta of fealty: Fox News, Mar-a-Lago, Project 2025. And remember, none of this is normal. It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Retired U.S. Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel and founder of Democratic Majority Action PAC, Amy McGrath is back, plus MSNBC political analyst Tim Miller's here. He is, of course, former RNC spokesperson, now the host of the Bulwark podcast. Also joining us, the president of Media Matters for America, Angelo Carasone. Amy, I start with you. The Hegseth nomination is... It is important that any attempt to describe his critics as having anything to do with the left or the Democratic Party or the media is fact-checked in a nanosecond, because every one of the calls about Hegseth are coming from deep inside the right-wing house. And I mean inside the organizations he ran, which were sort of staffed up by conservatives. The allegations of sexual assault in Monterey was someone who worked with and at the conservative group he was addressing. All of the reports, all that we know about Pete Hegseth, we know from deep inside his right-wing circle.
Yeah, and the latest allegation was from a fellow veteran, Marine, who was on Trump's executive campaign committee or executive director for the campaign committee. So this is coming from Republicans, from conservatives, not from Democrats. But, you know, this pick for senators to reject should be a no-brainer. And in no planet is this guy qualified to lead the Department of Defense, not only from the experience level, but also from the ethical perspective. I mean, the financial mismanagement alone, he was in charge of an organization, Nicolle, that had 10 people. It had a budget of less than 10 million. And he financially mismanaged that. Twice he was fired from these small organizations. And here's the thing, if you want this guy to lead, how about leading an organization successfully just once without getting fired for sexual misconduct or for financial mismanagement before you put him in charge of the DOD?
Let me show you some of what he is, I don't even know the right verb to use, massaging. It's sort of gross with all the allegations against him. But his position on women in combat is evolving, if you will. Let me show you that.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. And then, you know, whatever the standards, whatever the combat standards were, say, in, I don't know, 1995, let's just make those the standards.
How do you feel about the women in combat?
We have amazing women who serve in our military.
Do you think they should be in combat?
I think they're already in combat.
I'm not sure that the path to nomination winds its way through non-answers like that, but that's where we are, Amy.
Well, I mean, I think he sees the writing on the wall, that this is an issue that, you know, women have been serving in combat, and lots of people see that, and it's not a winning issue for him, despite his personal beliefs. But I'll tell you, his misconduct, this is something that everybody in America should really know. This attitude of, oh, boys will be boys, and he's a combat vet, so, you know, cut him some slack for the rape allegations and the, you know, massive alcohol abuse. That kind of behavior, Nicolle, would get him to a non-promotion status within the military. And now they want him to lead the Department of Defense. He would not even be promoted with that kind of background in the military. It's really hypocrisy and a terrible example to set for our troops.
Mm-hmm. Amy, are you having any private conversations with Senate staff or any senators who are more concerned than they're willing to air publicly?
Yes, I think that there are people that are very concerned. Look, it's really hard for many people to claim that they care about sexual assault, for example, in the military, and try to hold military leaders accountable for sexual assaults, the problems that we have within the ranks. And then you turn around and, yeah, I'm going to vote for this guy to be Secretary of Defense, when he, paid off the woman who accused him of doing the very same thing, when he has multiple allegations of personal misconduct that wouldn't, even be allowed within the military in terms of being promoted to a higher rank. So I feel like there are senators who really understand the military and do get that. And I certainly hope that they're paying attention right now to what this would do to our military.
Tim Miller, let me show you the current public posture on Hegseth. This is Jason Miller on CNN.
So when it comes to Pete Hegseth, there aren't any concerns, and we feel very good about his positioning for being confirmed by the Senate. I believe that Pete Hegseth is ultimately, when he has a chance to present his case, it's going to come across very clearly that he's going to be a great person to lead the DOD and that he didn't do anything wrong.
Do anything wrong. That's why Fox News paid out a settlement. That's why the Monterey Police Department released a 22-page police report. That's why Jane Mayer has a phone ringing off the hook and a deeply sourced, meticulously reported body of reporting about his mismanagement. And frankly, the public drunkenness and the sloppiness with which his own peers and colleagues describe him is really stunning and a real departure from the kinds of folks that Trump seemed to have been attracted to in a first term.
Yeah, well, he's looking for something different this time. I mean, he's looking for toadies, and I don't know. Maybe he's also playing a prank. I don't know. Like, just listening to the interviews with Amy, it's like, is this a prank, a nomination? Like, how can you be serious with this? Like, this is such a preposterous nomination on every count. And you just see him barely be completely unable to answer that substantive question about women in the military walking through the halls. How is this guy gonna survive a hearing? This isn't the Fox and Friends couch. There are going to be some tough questions at a hearing about his personal, private behavior, as well as his preparedness for the job, which he doesn't have. He has none. And so, look, this is a person who I believe it was Elizabeth Warren who used the word predator in describing him. It's hard to not describe him that way. I mean, you look at the Jane Mayer story, and Amy mentioned his inability to manage money and the fact that he's fired from jobs and leadership roles. That's disqualifying. But also in the personal behavior. Look, I live in New Orleans. If you want to come down to New Orleans and go to a strip club and get up on stage, I think that's questionable behavior and for the head of the DOD, but maybe you can look past that. But he's bringing his young female staff with him to this. He is lecherously creeping on women at conservative conferences. We went over this last time we talked about this, Nicolle. Even in his telling of the story from Monterey, I mean, he still is drunkenly screaming at a hotel staffer about how he has freedom of speech at 1:30 a.m. and pressuring this woman to have consensual sex with him while he has a child that he had out of wedlock that had just been born. And he's in between two divorces. This guy is just a complete disaster class across the board. There's nothing there. It's not like, what is he? There is no case for him across his personal judgment, his professional record, his career. I mean, imagine. I was thinking today about. Imagine if you're a commanding general. There's a commanding general in Europe in Africa named Daryl Williams, 60-something years old, went to the U.S. Military Academy, career from '83, whole career working up the chain. You're going to report to this guy, this TV show clown that has never done anything in his life? How is that a serious nomination? It isn't.
It's interesting. I mean, I want to say this really plainly. Talking on TV is easy. And so when he fails at the talking part, I'm stunned. Like the thing that he should bring to this is the ability to answer questions when a camera's pointed at him. And he seems to stink at that too, which is the amazing part of this story for me. I mean, I wonder sometimes the same thing. Like, what is Trump doing? What does he want us talking about this every day to do? Is he taking millions of dollars in transition donations? What is he doing that he benefits from the ludicrousness of this? But you think about all the family members that have written books about Trump and all the things he loathes. There's something about the drunkenness and look, alcoholism is a disease. I believe addiction is a disease, and there should be some space and grace to nod to someone's prerogative of healing or recovering. That's not the Pete Hegseth story that they're telling. And in fact, I think Jason Miller in the same interview attacks the President Joe Biden's son for his addiction. So the idea that Trump 2.0 would shove all these conflicting things down the throat of a very compliant Senate Republican caucus and his own base feels important in a way that might outlast the Hegseth pick. What do you think of that, Tim?
Yeah, I think it's something we're going to learn over the next 6 weeks, because to me, there's kind of two potential theories here about what's happening. One is that Trump's his brain is mush from watching Fox all the time. Like you showed it in the intro, and all of his appointments are from Fox, and that's what he thinks is smart now, and he thinks that a Fox host would do a good job, and this is not kind of a power play, and this is just Trump just doesn't. That's just the state of Trump right now, in his mental state, which is an additional problem. It's possible it's that, and that Pete Hegseth ends up getting shot down, and Trump doesn't really care because he's kind of checked out and he's won, and he wants to play golf and have people say nice things about him on Fox, and so he'll pick somebody else. That's one possible path here. The other possible path is that, he's trying to bring these Republican senators to heel. And it's almost as like it's a humiliation ritual. And it's like, look, you will support these people. You will support a blow-dried weekend Fox host with no qualifications to run the military to prove my power. Gates, I was more on the second version of that until the Gates dropped out. And now I just am honestly not sure. But those are the two theories of the case that I've got at this point for a nomination that's ridiculous.
I mean, Angelo, we talk so much about the ties between Project 2025 and Trump. And there was a ridiculous period of time where Trump was like, what? I don't know anything about it, around the time when it was clear that the public really did not approve of or like what was in it. That time appears to have passed completely. I think there are 17 folks who have been tied to Project 2025 who've been tapped to serve in his administration. I know you're the least surprised person on the planet, but tell us what you know about these folks.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, I think big picture here, I want to just sort of tie it in a little bit too with the Hegseth stuff, because part of what Trump is doing here is creating a cast of characters. Authoritarianism, fascism, it's mostly theater, especially in the early days. And all these people are designed to play a part. And that's where the Project 2025 piece comes in. I'll sort of get to that. But Hegseth plays an important part in that story. And when we think about the role that he plays, Trump sort of imagines a figure like him leading the DOD, in large part because of his fealty, but also because of how he looks and operates.